How many games will the Washington Commanders win in 2025? What's going on, Commanders fans? It's your boy Mail Jones here, back up with another NFL record prediction. And this time we'll be doing our NFL record prediction for the Washington Commanders for a 2025 NFL season. Let's get things started here. I'm going to give you my game-by-game analysis and my game-by-game thoughts, see which games I think the Commanders will win and which games I think the Commanders will lose. So before I give you my record prediction for the Washington Commanders for a 2025 NFL season, don't forget to put a thumbs up to like the video, subscribe to my channel for more options, and comment down your opinion below to see how good you think the Commanders will be. Do you think the Commanders will make the playoffs? Do you think they'll win the division, or do you think the Commanders will miss the playoffs? Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. So week 1 against the Giants, obviously I got the Washington Commanders beating the Giants. Obviously, because I think the Giants, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. It's going to be Russell Wilson starting, which I believe he will be, or are they either going to put Jackson Dart or Jameis Winston? But that doesn't really give them the best chance to win. But I just think, Washington is just a slightly better team and has a better quarterback, and they'll just find more ways to win. But the Giants could be a sneaky team this year. Just watch out for them. So, yeah, I just think the Commanders will win because they're just a much more complete team and have better quarterback play. And they're the better coach team as well. So, yeah. Then week 2 against the Green Bay Packers on a short week, Thursday Night Football. This is going to be a fun game to watch. I'm leaning towards the Packers to win this game because I just don't think Commanders have much of a pass rush to at least get after Jordan Love and make life difficult on them. So I just have a feeling that the Packers, offensively can run the ball, and I think they can stay balanced and keep, Commanders defense on their toes. So I think, Jordan Love will have success against an overwhelming Commanders defense. And, I just think the Packers, their pass rush isn't good, but I think their D-line is good. I think they can get after Jaden Daniels and make life difficult on them. And I forgot, now without Jair Alexander, I feel like Terry McLaurin and Debo will be a problem. But I think the Packers defense is good enough to at least get after mobile quarterbacks. So basically I think it will be close. I think the Packers win this one in Lambeau, especially the tough place to play at as well on a Thursday short week. And then week 3 they play against the Raiders back at home. I think the Commanders win because I think the Commanders are just slightly better team and they're at home. And I just really think that, I don't think the Raiders secondary can match up well with your receivers. And I think that Deebo Samuel and Terry McLaurin will have a big game here. And I just think their offensive line, and I think, the Raiders don't really have a lot of good weapons that scare you. But the Commanders secondary with good corners, they like to play man coverage a lot. I think they can find a way to at least get sticky against an underwhelming receiving core. So yeah, I think the game will be a lot closer though because Geno's very interesting, and the Raiders, I like their coaching staff is very good. But at the same time, I think the Commanders win this one, but I think this could be a shootout as well. Week 4 against the Atlanta Falcons. This is a tricky one. This could totally go either way, but Atlanta, is interesting though. Now Atlanta can run the ball. They have a solid offensive line. Michael Penix is in year 2, but I know he's unproven. Their defense, they don't have a pass rush, but they're good against the run, but not great against the pass. But I don't love their coaches as well. So that is kind of tricky though. But I'm going to come back to that one. Now, week 5, they play against the Los Angeles Chargers on the road in LA. This is East Coast going to West. So I'm going to lean towards the Chargers to win this game because I just think the Chargers at home are going to be more difficult. I feel like LA is kind of a tough place to play at because, you're going across the country playing against an LA team because this is an East Coast team playing West Coast where they have to play in LA where it's tough to play environment. And I feel like Harbaugh is going to at least get his guys ready. I like the improvements that the Chargers have. And I just really think that the Commanders, I just don't think they really have the pass rush to get after Herbert and make life difficult on them. I think the Chargers offensive line can take advantage of that, especially with their running game. I think they can run the ball better under Greg Roman because they have two new running backs in Hampton and Harris. Their receiving core is not as good as yours, but I feel like Justin Herbert can dice up your secondary. Their defense is okay, but it's nothing special. Maybe their pass rushing can get after Jaden Daniels, make him uncomfortable. But their secondary is suspect. But I'm really not too worried about their secondary. So as long as they can crowd the box and stop the run, they should be fine. So yeah. So I think the Chargers will win that game at home in LA. But it will be close though. Week 6 against the Chicago Bears. This is another game that can go either way. Now, last year when these two teams played, the Commanders did win, but basically it was a low-scoring game because both defenses were playing really well. I mean, the Bears should have at least won that game last year, but all of a sudden, the Commanders end up, throwing the ball on a Hail Mary, which, I don't really see that happening again. I think the game will be a lot closer, but I'm going to lead towards the Commanders to win this game. And the reason for it is I just think the Commanders are just the better overall, more complete team. And I just really think that, Dan Quinn, can do a good job, keeping, Caleb Williams on his toes. Because I feel like that the Bears do got great weapons and they have a better offensive line now, but their defense is solid but not good enough. I think the Commanders, at home can find a way to at least offensively just out scheme the Bears. And I feel like Dan Quinn, if his defense can find a way to at least get after Caleb Williams and put him under pressure, I feel like that will be possible. So I think the game will be a lot closer, but I lean towards Washington to win because they're just the much more complete team. So yeah. Next game, week 7 against the Dallas Cowboys. I think they'll lose to the Cowboys once, so I'm going to give the Cowboys a win here just because Dallas typically owns this rivalry and they play the Commanders tough. And on top of that, the Commanders, the Cowboys, are – I kind of feel like both teams are similar to each other. I feel like, Dak Prescott, I think he'll outduel Daniels. They're going to be a good team this year. And and I feel like the Cowboys have, they got good weaponry that can really give the Commanders defense problems. And their defense is solid, which I think they'll find a way to at least confuse Jaden Daniels, get after him. And also they even beat the Commanders without Dak last year. So yeah, that's something you got to remember. So I feel like with Dak Prescott and with the healthy Cowboys team, I think they'll find a way to win that game. Week 8, they got to play the Kansas City Chiefs on the Monday Night Football and Arrowhead. This will be a fun game to watch, but I'm leaning towards the Chiefs because I just really think that, I don't really think the Commanders are going to be able to do much against the Chiefs defense because the Chiefs defense is very strong. They're very aggressive and they can get pressure. They don't allow you to run them over. And their secondary doesn't allow you to at least get after them and all that. And I think Spags is very creative at, I feel like he could be very creative, at least like getting pressure on Jaden Daniels and get him under pressure. So yeah, I think the Commanders offense will struggle with that. And so yeah, and the Chiefs, I think Mahomes can make some magic happen because I just don't really trust your D line against against Mahomes because Mahomes is unsackable and he can scramble, he can make some plays, and he can dice up any defense. So I kind of feel like that Mahomes will probably pick you apart. So yeah, especially the Chiefs are at home and got the better defense. They're a more talented team and have the better quarterback and coaching staff as well. So yeah, I think the Chiefs find a way to win this one. Week 9, they got to play in Seahawks. I think they'll bounce back and beat Seattle. I just don't think Seattle's offensive line is anything special. But the Commanders don't have a great pass rush though. But they do got a great secondary as well. So I feel like if they don't really give up big plays to Cooper Kupp, I think they should be fine. So yeah. And as good as the Seahawks defense is, I think that Jaden Daniels, I feel like that, Cliff Kingsbury, I feel like Commanders have enough, to like out scheme the Seahawks. So yeah, and I think the Commanders offensively can like at least find a way to control the game, keep Darnold off the field. So yeah, I think I think the Commanders should win this game at home. The next game, Week 10 against Detroit Lions. This is going to be an interesting game, though. This can go either way. I feel like this is a revenge game for the Lions about after what happened in the playoffs. But I'm probably going to go with the Commanders to win this game. And the reason for it is that I just really think that, it's a bad matchup for Detroit because Detroit struggle against mobile quarterbacks. And I feel like Cliff, did a really good job, like attacking the Lions defense where he was like out scheming them, coming up with good game plans. And it was kind of difficult for the Lions because if they want to play man like they want to post Aaron Glenn, then I feel like that can be a problem. But because the Lions, offensively, even though they can run the ball, I kind of really feel like that the Lions did struggle against the Commanders because they couldn't move the ball and all that. They were forcing turnovers, yeah. But I feel like Dan Quinn did a really good job keeping Jared Goff on his toes. Like, he especially, like find a way to at least like get after Jared Goff, getting pressure on him, force mistakes into some turnovers. Like, yeah. But even though the Lions can run the ball really well and they got a good passing game, I still think Jared Goff is going to make a mistake because I feel like Dan Quinn can get him a couple times. And, the Lions do have a better defense, and I feel like they're the much more complete team from a talent standpoint. But I just have a feeling that, that Commanders offensively, I think they can do enough to control the game, keep Goff off the field. So, yeah. But I feel like the only way the Lions can win this game is that if their defense can force a bad game from Jaden Daniels and, keep the Commanders, and the Lions offense can at least like find a way to overpower the Commanders to keep the Commanders defense on their toes. So, yeah. So I think it will be close though. I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions won. I wouldn't rule out the Lions winning, but I just have a feeling the Commanders are going to win that game. Then week 11 against the Miami Dolphins. This game is actually in Madrid. This will be a fun game to watch if Tua is healthy, but I feel like that two good teams with two good wide receiving duos. Like this is gonna be a fun game to watch because the Dolphins got a fast offense and they're explosive in the passing game, but in the run game they're a little bit explosive, but they're average. But this is going to be close and go either way. But I feel like if Tua's healthy, I think there's a chance Miami wins because I feel like with both teams with good quarterback play and good weaponry, that could be a show. So yeah, so basically, I think it will be close. I think Miami could totally pull off an upset, but I'm leaning towards Commanders because I think the Commanders are just a much more complete team and have the better quarterback, and they have a better coaching staff. And I just really think that the Dolphins are a soft team, and they got too many holes on the offensive line and on defense, especially the secondary. If Jalen Ramsey's gone, I don't really think the Dolphins defense will have an answer for Terry McLaurin or Deebo Samuel or Zach Ertz because those guys are just going to be too much for the Dolphins secondary to handle because their secondary is pretty bad. So yeah, and I think their offensive line is a lot better than the Dolphins, where I think they can find a way to control the Dolphins pass rush. So yeah, but I wouldn't be shocked that the Dolphins pull off an upset. But I feel like this game will be close and it could be a shootout. And I feel like both teams could totally put up a show here. So yeah, I think Commanders will win that game. Then they get the bye week 12. Then after the bye week, they gotta play at home against they play at home against the Denver Broncos. This is a team. This is a game that can go either way. But I'm gonna go with Commanders here because they got extra time to prepare, extra time to rest because they're coming off a bye. And I understand the Broncos do have the better defense, and I feel like they're more talented than the Commanders. But at the same time, I just have a feeling that that I just think the Commanders offensively can do enough to control the game, keep Bo off the field, and I think they can do enough offensively to at least get after Vance Joseph defense. Because if Vance Joseph if he gets way too aggressive, I think Jaden Daniels can make him pay. Because he can see the field really well and he knows where to go with the ball. He knows who's open and who's not. So yeah. I think the Commanders can get after the Broncos secondary, especially their pass rush. So yeah. On the other side, I think the Commanders defense, the way they want to play man coverage and cover two, is through the RPOs and the style of games and blitzing, where that makes Bo Nix a drop back passer. Because if you play man coverage against Sean Payton and let Sean Payton out duel you, then that's where you're going to be in trouble and you'll lose. I just really think that that Dan Quinn can do a good job with his defense. I think he can find a way to keep Bo Nix on his toes and just get after him, rattle him with his defense. Yeah, so I think the game will be close, but I think Washington finds a way to pull this one off. The next game, week 14 against the Minnesota Vikings. I think they'll lose to the Vikings just because I feel like playing in Minnesota is a tough place to play at. And I just think the Vikings as a defense, I think Brian Flores can find a way to at least get after Jaden Daniels and keep him under pressure because the Vikings do have a strong defensive line that can really get after Jaden Daniels and make him uncomfortable. But their secondary doesn't have any corners, but they do play a lot of zone, sometimes man. I just don't think the Commanders are going to do enough offensively to get after them. And especially the Vikings do have a strong offensive line. I think they can run the ball. And I feel like JJ McCarthy, you know, can be comfortable in this spot where, I feel like, he can do enough to make some plays against a bad Commanders defense. Because the Vikings do have really good weapons on offense that you got to deal with. You got to deal with Justin Jefferson, TJ Hockenson, and Jordan Addison. So, yeah, like those guys can be a problem for your defense. So, yeah, I feel like this could totally be an offensive game, but I don't know. I feel like this game will be close. There's a chance that Washington can win this game if Cliff Kingsbury can find a way to get after that Viking secondary. I think I think the Commanders find a way to win this game, but I feel like Minnesota will win this game at home, and I feel like their defense will just win them the game itself. All right, then next game, Week 15 against the New York Giants. I think they're going to split with the Giants. I think the Giants will steal this game, just because I feel like the Giants, always play the Commanders tough, and the Giants do have a strong defensive line that can really get after the Commanders, get after Jaden Daniels, and make life difficult on them. And I just really think, one of these games, I think, who's ever playing quarterback, I mean, Russ could have a good game. And even Jameis is playing, I mean, that could be fluky. So, yeah, I think the Giants will win the second matchup. Then Week 16 against the Eagles on a Saturday. This is at home. I think you'll beat the Eagles once, so I'm probably going to say you beat the Eagles the first time and you lose the Eagles second time. Because I feel like that both teams need to at least win this game more. But the Commanders might need to at least win one of these games more if they want to make the playoffs. So, yeah, but, even last year, the Commanders did beat the Eagles last year without Jalen Hurts. I feel like one of these games, I think Jaden will outduel Hurts, and then Hurts will outduel Jaden in one matchup. So, yeah, that's why I think the Commanders will split the season series against them. Then Week 17 on Thursday, short week, they play against the Cowboys. I think they split the season series there, and they beat the Cowboys. Because I felt that the Commanders really need this game more. Like, both these two teams really need this game more if they want to make the playoffs. Because I think the Cowboys will make the playoffs, I think. And I think the Commanders might make the playoffs. I don't know. So, yeah. That's why I think they'll split with the Cowboys. So, basically, that leads to the last game. So, they're 9-7-1. That kind of leads to the last game against the Falcons. Obviously, this is one of my trap games. If they beat the Falcons, they'll be like 10-7. If they lose to the Falcons, I think they'll be 9-8. So basically, this game will be close, but I know this game was on prime time. But I'm gonna lean towards the Commanders to win this game because I just think the Commanders are just a way more complete team. They have a better coaching staff, and they got the more proven better quarterback. So yeah, and I don't think the Falcons really have much of a pass rush to at least like disrupt and get after Jaden. And I think Jaden Daniels can take advantage of that, and I feel like their run game can as well. The Falcons secondary is not good against the pass. I think Jaden Daniels can do enough to at least like pick them apart. So yeah, especially with the weapons they have on offense, like I don't think the Falcons defense will have an answer for. So yeah, and I just think as long as their defense doesn't really give up any big plays and they'll find a way to contain Penix, they should be fine there. So I think the game will be close and competitive, but I think the Commanders will win that game. So basically, I got the Commanders sitting at 10-7, which that's pretty much good enough to make the playoffs. But I don't really know if they can. But this is a tough schedule, though, because they play the Packers, they play the Chargers, the Bears, the Cowboys twice, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Broncos, the Vikings, and the Eagles twice. Like, yeah, that's a tough schedule. The only teams they don't play is like the Niners, Rams, Bucks, They don't play the they don't play the Bills. They don't play the Texans. Like, yeah, that's like a tough schedule. So basically, I could totally see the Commanders, like I can totally see the Commanders like I could really see them at least being as good as 11-6, 12-5. But I think they'll go somewhere from like 9 to 10 wins this year. Like I feel like that they're probably going to take a step back this year because last year they were like a fluky team that won a lot of one-score games, and Jaden Daniels, throwing one Hail Mary was kind of fluky and all that. But I feel like they'll be in competitive in some games, but I don't really know. Hope I'm wrong. I just don't really think they improved the defense enough to get where they want to be. Like, I can really see them losing one more game. Like, I can see them lose to the Falcons. I can see them lose to the Bears or the Lions or the Dolphins if Tua's healthy. I could even see them like losing to the Broncos. Like, yeah, I can even yeah, like those are some games I can totally see them losing. So yeah. So let me know what you guys think about the Commanders. It's your boy Mayo Jones from Big Fan. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for my channel if you want to see the rest of my record prediction team. So yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching. See you guys later. Peace.